Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sell Like You podcast with me, Harriet Meller. And today we are talking about getting stuff done. So we are looking at the things that are getting in your way. Procrastination will definitely come into this, but we are looking at stopping to try. We're stopping trying. We're just going to take action. And so often I hear the whole, I'll try and make these calls tomorrow. I'll try and get hold of that person tomorrow. I will try and do that next week. And it just doesn't work. We're just not able to do it in the same way as when we say we're going to make one phone call. I would rather, instead of you try and make 10 calls, make one. So today's episode is about that, about how we get into the right state and how we can stop trying and start doing, especially as we enter 2024. Now, today is the 4th of January is this recording, and it's my first day back. And so for me, it's quite easy to say, I'm going to try and get some work done today. I'm going to try and finish all of my tasks. But actually, that's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. So I have a few little tips that I'm going to share with you. And these work extremely well for my clients and for my friends and for anybody that has been listening to me over the last few years. And I always like removing the stopping to try. So if I say I'm going to try and go for a run, I say, well, let's not try and go for a run. Let's go for a run for 1 minute. Instead of let's trying to go for a run for 5K, let's just run 1K. I'm going to run 1K at 12 o'clock. Okay. That way you're able to lock it in. You're able to be specific, but therefore you know that it's not that big of a task. Okay. Especially if you've not run for a long time, then thinking about running 5K, new year, new me, let's go. That's not necessarily going to work for you. So there's a guy called Guy Newman who I listened to speak at a conference I was at last year. And he was sharing about the fact that he was training a Olympian. And he's like, I don't train Olympians. That's not what I do. The reason why the guy wants to train with him was because he'd seen where he'd gone. He'd seen the rise of where he'd worked his way through, and he wanted to go down the same path that Guy had. So he said, I want you to train me. He said, okay, fine, I'll train you. And he said, right, go and do one sit-up, go and do one push-up, go and run 100 meters and then come back. He was like, that's not going to get me to be an Olympian if that's all I'm doing. And he's like, no, come back when you've done it. And then tomorrow we're going to do the same thing again. And then when you've done that for 5 days consecutively, we're then going to do 5 sit-ups, 5 push-ups. We're going to run 500 meters. And so what he was doing was incrementally increasing, because nobody is going to say no to one push-up. Nobody's going to say no to walking 2 minutes down the road. But what happens is that when we start walking or when we start doing the exercise, we are able to just keep going. It's like if I say I'm going to go to the gym, I've only got 20 minutes. I'm going to go to the gym for 20 minutes. I could be there then for 3 hours because I'm already in the motion. I'm ready to go. Okay. So what has this got to do with sales? This is a sales podcast, Harriet. So the reason why I'm giving you all these examples is because this is what we do in our everyday. So think about the patterns and the habits that you are taking through with you every day. The same thing, again, I've done posts before where we talked about the fact that I don't try and clean my teeth every morning. I clean my teeth every morning. It's not something that I try and do. It's just something that I do. Okay. So when we think about sales, when we start saying, I'm going to try and make 60 calls, I'm going to try and find these people, it's about removing the trying and just doing. So if you feel that you are stuck in a rut and you need to get out of it and you need to start calling, call 2 people. Think of 2 things. Do something for 2 minutes. Do something for 20 minutes. Again, what I often see is people block out the whole day or they block out half a day to go and do calls. It's never going to happen because they haven't even done one call, let alone given themselves an hour, 2 hours before they start blocking out half a day. If we block out half, what happen is we sit there and we think about it. And we think about all of the things we could be doing. And we've now got 4 hours to do the other stuff we need to do. And then we're going to get the endorphins and the good feels from the fact that we've been able to tick through that list of things. Because if we start calling people, it feels uncomfortable. We're not sure. And we haven't done it for a while, for a little while as well. So again, whenever there's anything we're struggling with or anything I'm ever struggling with or anything my clients are ever struggling with, we talk about 2 things, 2 minutes or 20 minutes. Okay. So if you could do 2 things in the next 20 minutes, what would it be? Okay, what could you set yourself to do? So if you're listening to this podcast, you might be driving, walking, you might be in the office, wherever you are. I want you to think about what's 2 things you could do after this podcast that will move the needle. Okay. So when we're talking about move the needle, we're talking about moving forward. We're talking about making progress in your sales, in your business, in your efforts. Okay. So if you know that today you could do with making 10 calls, just start with making 1. Or let's ring 2 people. Let's choose the 2 people. Let's think about Bob and Jane, and we're going to ring Bob and Jane, and we're going to do that before we have our coffee. And once we've done that, I can then have a coffee. Once we've done that, I'm going to go out and put the washing out. If you work from home and you're struggling to juggle those things as well. So anything where you are struggling with, again, procrastination comes into this. You might say, Harriet, I'm good. I'm getting my calls done. I'm all fine. But I have those days where I've just got the biggest to-do list and I just don't even know where to start. I opened Asana this morning. We use Asana to track all of our tasks. And I think I've got 15 overdue tasks. Now, I haven't got time to do 15 tasks today. I've got all my calls scheduled. I've got the podcast scheduled. And so for me, I'm going to choose 2. So I go through that list, ideally the day before, go through the list, find 2. And I'll do the same thing this afternoon for tomorrow. So I'll find 2 things to do at the end of today for tomorrow. And therefore I know that I'm moving the needle forward on my opportunities. Okay. Not just my quick wins, not just my things that are going to make me feel good when I've taken them off, but things that are actually going to help the business move forward, that are going to allow my team to be able to go away and do something. I've always got them asking me for things so that they can do their job. So therefore I need to make sure that I give them that information. Okay. So again, we're talking about sales because this is super, super relevant. It's something I see every day on every call. I will try, I will block out. I've done this, I've done that. Okay. I want you to make it smaller. If you say I'm going to do 100 things, choose 2. Choose 2 things. If you get to 10, great. If you get to 100, even better. But if you are procrastinating or if you've got the biggest to-do list, end of year is another prime example. I had a conversation with another business owner and we were talking about the things we've got to do. And I was like, I've got 5 things left to do. And I know they're going to take me longer than today. So I chose 2 of them. And I then also after that set a 20-minute timer for each of the tasks so I could get my way through each of those tasks as well. So again, these are just mini things that help me. I've given you some background behind some of the people that have done it. But again, when we think about, we get up, we walk our dogs, we walk our teeth. We walk our dogs, we clean our teeth, we go to work, we eat. All of those things are habits because they've been built up over time. Again, if you are thinking about, if you're struggling to get through and you've got these goals you want to set, within your business, within sales, even within your personal life, think about the 10% version of it and think about how you can start there to get yourself going. Okay. So 2 things, 20 minutes. Again, you've got things that you can get yourself set up so that you can succeed. We don't want you to fail. Okay. We want to set ourselves up for success. Time blocking in 20 minutes. Again, I've touched on that a little bit, but it's super, super important and super effective if you are trying to get through and you've got the whole day ahead of you and you've got all of these tasks to do, but you've got no time scheduled in to do any of the tasks. So at that point, then I want you to schedule in 20 minutes, set your timer, and away you go. Lots of people use these downloads and the apps and all things like that. I'm not really into them. I like an iPhone timer, 20 minutes, away we go, and you will be good to go for the day. And you can do that for every single task as you set through, and you'll be amazed to see what you're able to achieve. So we've got 2 things. We've got 20 minutes. We've got 2 minutes. We've got those 1 push up, one press up. We've got walk for 2 minutes, go to the gym for 20 minutes, whatever it needs to be to get you there. Remember that you are the one stopping you. I want you to remove try from your vocabulary, or at least try to remove try from your vocabulary. I was trying to think of a different way to say that, but I think try is going to be the best way to do it. But with your trying, every time you say, I'm going to try, I want you to stop and I want you to think about how you can actually put that into practice, how you can actually make that achievable and go from there. This is a super short episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it brought you some ideas and some tools to get you through, especially beginning of the year when we've got all these goals to achieve. If you're in Australia, we've got another 6 months left of our financial year. Our financial year is the end of June. So again, it's always a good time. I love an end of year, love a start of year, love an end of quarter, end of month, end of week. I love anything where we can start again and really, really see how we can do better. So I wish you a wonderful beginning to the year. I hope these tips helped you. Go away, find something that works. Let me know. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I share so much more on LinkedIn as well. So connect with me there. Let me know if this episode helped you. Have a wonderful year, week, day ahead.